صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد. اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. ہائے خدا نے جب ملک الموت کو یہ اذن دیا کہ روح حضرت سرور نکال کر لے آ رہے خیال کے شبیر کو نہ ہو ایذا. حسین 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 پہلی ہی زخموں سے چور چور ہوا. ملک پکارا یہ مجھ سے نہ ہو سکے گا خدا. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین. بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ہائے لگا ہے زخم تبر پہ رہا ہے سر سے لہو. بار ہے خون میں جان رسول کے گیسو. قریب جا کے رکھوں دل پہ کس طرح قابو کہ اس لہو میں تو ہے فاطمہ کے دودھ کی بو. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین. بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ہائے میں پھر ان آنکھوں پہ ڈالوں ستم یہ کیا ہے ضرور. بچھڑ کے جو علی اکبر سے ہو گئیں بے نور. ندائے آئی دہن سے نکال جان حضور. کہا دہن میں تو کانٹے پڑے ہیں رب غفور. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین. اور بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ندائے آئی کہ گردن سے کھینچ جائیں کی. کہا میں کیا کہوں گردن پہ چل رہی ہے چھری. چھری پکڑ کے یہ چلاتی ہے کوئی بی بی. چھری پکڑ کے یہ چلاتی ہے کوئی بی بی. نہ ذبح کر میرے بچے کو میں دعا دوں گی. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین. بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ہائے ندائے آئی کہ سینے سے قبضے کر لے جان. کہاں وہ تیروں سے چلنی ہے اے میرے رحمان. ابھی تو مر کے برچی ہٹاتا ایک شیطان. ابھی تو مر کے برچی ہٹاتا ایک شیطان. اور اب تو ہے تاہے زنو یہ شمر قرآن. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین. بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ہائے निदा ये आई के मजलूमियत की रुतबा शिनास कमरे से खींच ले काबे की जानिबे वसवास कहा मलक ने तरफ कर बदर्द हसरत यास कहा मलक ने तरफ कर बदर्द हसरत यास कमर तो टूट गई जब से मर गए अब्बास मैं किस तरह से निकालूं बदन से जाने हुसैन बहुत ही सख्त है या रब ये इम्तिहान हुसैन सलवात अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Another night of Ashra Zainabiyya and another conversation we have, and this time I have brought one of my best friends from when we were young to help us learn on how we can create good friendships. And after this conversation, I'll probably be able to learn as well whether our friendship is a good one or not. So Abbasali Merali has kindly agreed to come and share his thoughts with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. And Abbasali, we know each other from our days in Mombasa.
Yes, back in Kenya when Imranali was a superstar as a young child, as our Quran champion and our cricket champion. So no, we've known each other quite a few years.
Good to see things haven't changed then, right?
Yeah, well, I think my Quran might be a bit better.
So yeah, no, thank you so much for joining. And as we've seen from the previous guests, before we get into the conversation, we always like to know what your thoughts are on who a Husseini should be.
So for me, being a Husseini is just essentially being a good Muslim, I would say. That's the most important thing. I don't think Imam Hussein wanted us to complicate matters in terms of our everyday life. Simple things like reciting our prayers every day, listening to our parents, helping out around the house, having good manners, being polite to your teachers and your friends. Enjoying your life, I think, is very important as well. Not always kind of being sad. You should be energetic and happy as well. And I think if you just have good akhlaq, which is what the Prophet came down to perfect, then I don't think you can go too wrong. So for me, being a Husseini is following the principles of Islam, the Furu'id-Din, the Usul-Din, and that's what I would say. But I'm interested to know what your thoughts would be, Sheikh Imran Ali. What do you think being a Husseini is?
I thought I'm the one asking the questions here. But you see, that's a good friend. Keep you on your toes, making sure that you're not just laying back when other people are doing the hard work. But before I answer, I really like the points that you raised. Keeping it simple, I think, ultimately is what it is, right? Sometimes we can overcomplicate life and all of a sudden life becomes a burden, or we feel life becomes a burden. But it's actually very, very simple. If we actually do the things that we have learned and the things that we know, then I'm sure we'll go far in life. So no, that was really, really beautiful. For me, Al-Husseini, I think our friends here, Zainab, Muhammad Abbas, and Ali, and all of you, you all know that when we had our initial conversation during the first 10 nights, we spoke about different elements of who a Husseini should be. And for me, it's all about looking at the life of the Imams, of the Ma'sumin, and also looking at the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and exactly what they portrayed to stick with the Imam. Because I'm guessing it must have been very difficult times when your life is in danger, and still stick with the Imam. So looking at their life and seeing exactly what it was about them that made them stick with the Imam. And ultimately, if I try and implement that in my life, then inshallah I'll stick with my Imam rather than running away. So that is my definition of who
that was beautiful. Thank you. That's actually a very good point. I think the fact that sometimes we forget that we look at Imam Hussein, but sometimes we'll forget we have an Imam as well that we need to stand by and be loyal to.
Yeah.
And we can learn from, obviously, the companions of Imam Hussein. So yeah, definitely agree.
Thank you so much. So, what do you think makes a good friendship? I know we've known each other for a long time and we've been good friends for a long time. But what is it that you can pinpoint from this relationship or from other friendships that makes a good friendship?
So I was thinking about this earlier, and for me, I would boil it down to three main things. Firstly, I would say a friend and having a good friendship is somebody that you can trust. So especially if you're going to have close friends, if we're talking about people that are close to you, that you spend a lot of time with, you want to be able to trust them so that you know that it's a safe environment when you're interacting with them, whether it's just having fun or whether it's about more serious things. I think having a friend that you can trust is a big thing. The second thing I would say, and probably I've probably taken this a bit too much to heart, is someone you want to have fun with. So that's why Marley and I are not that good friends. No, I'm kidding. We want to have a lot of fun, whether it's playing together or it's just spending time together, watching football together, reading Quran together when you used to teach me Quran, stuff like that. As long as you're enjoying time together, I think it's very important. And finally, I think one of the most important things, and sometimes it's something that we forget as well, is that a friend is someone that pushes you to be a better person. That's a crucial thing. I would say that sometimes it's easy to hang out with people that you have a lot of fun with, but if they don't push you to be better, whether it's in the simple things of like maybe giving you better mannerisms or helping you with your schoolwork or ensuring that you do all your homework, or friends that you know listen to their parents a lot, that kind of thing, if they're having a positive influence in your life and you're having a positive influence in their life, then I would think that's a very important thing.
No, those are three amazing points. And the thing that I pick up from your second point was about teaching each other. And it's all about making sure that you're in it together, right? So, for example, when we were learning Quran together, or when I was teaching.
When you were teaching me, more like.
We were friends, but still, like, we're helping each other learn, right?
Yeah.
It's not that you're waiting for someone older than you to teach you Quran. So the same way between yourselves, if someone is good in art, then and one of your friends wants to learn art, then you help him. Don't just wait for someone bigger to help.
Yeah.
Or if someone is good at talking, for example, and one of your friends wants to learn, then you help them. You give each other tips. So I think that was a very good point. The other point was about making sure that you push each other and compete each other. And yes, you have different aspects in life. You have school work. You keep on pushing each other. You have your parents pushing you for school as well. So that alone, I think, is enough. Then you have sports.
Yeah.
And we've traveled a lot together, playing sports, volleyball, football, around the world. And I know within our training sessions pre-tournament, we keep on pushing each other, and that comes to mind. And it's a positive kind of pushing as well, right?
Yeah.
Just helping each other build up, and that is important, I feel, because you can try and push each other, but at the same time the other person is feeling down about it because you've come about it through a negative way.
Yeah.
And I've seen that quite a few times. So we have a few friends in the annex, boys, for example, where we have an activity.
Okay.
And like we're in groups, and you see always the group that are finishing first. I see that the friends are helping each other. They keep on pushing each other. But sometimes you have the group that finishes last, and I see they're constantly on top of each other, shouting at each other. So that's something key to know.
Yeah.
From our travels, though, what do you think was the bonding factor for us to do well in our travels, or the fact that we've traveled so much together?
Yeah, I mean, like Sheikh Imranli said, we've traveled to quite a few tournaments together. I guess it's probably the only thing in life I maybe have pushed Imranli on to try and help him. But the key thing for us, and this is something that, because we've gone representing Stanmore, whenever you now go to Jamaats around the world, they'll always say that Stanmore has a good togetherness and they always stick by each other. And one of the main things that we say whenever we play any sports is first thing you do is you leave your ego at the door. And we always say that at the start because when your ego is not in, if you're not doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for your friends and your team, then the outcome is always significantly better, whether it's in professional sports or it's just when you're playing with your friends. You're always helping out one another. So yeah, we've had some really fun times playing sports internationally. So yeah, alhamdulillah, I've been lucky.
Yeah, no, and that is key. But the other thing I feel that has created that brotherhood and that bonding is that the fact that we all have a common goal, and that common goal is obviously getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that can be shown in different aspects. So when we think about, obviously when we're traveling, we're not with family. Normally when we're with family, probably our family is waking us up for Fajr, for example. But here we see each of us waking each other up for Fajr. Or if we're out and about and it's hit namaz time, at least one of us will remind us that it's namaz time. Or for example, during the sport itself, right? For example, we know in North America, we're representing Stanmore, but we're also representing ourselves. And it's always, people always say the Stanmore boys are the first ones to go. And it's the same group of boys. It's our friend circle that are there. So that's an important thing to note, that not only are you representing yourself, you're representing your family and Stanmore of where you come from, but also you're a representative of the religion. So you need to make sure that you stand by your principles. Firstly, you know your principles, and then you stand by your principles. Even though if you go abroad or where you go, people are not taking namaz as seriously, or they're not being as religious as you should be, you should stand by your principles. And having a good friend or a good circle of friends will make that easier, right? Because if you stand alone and say, no, it's namaz time, let's stop the game, and no one else wants to do that, it's a bit harder. But then if you have good friends, then that's easy to do. Now, one other thing that is really cool about us, and I really like, is before a volleyball game, what's our ritual? Go on.
So first we'll correct all Imranali's mistakes that he made in the previous game. That's the first thing we always do. But no, what we'll do before we play any match is we'll all put our hands in together and we recite Nadi Ali. And it's just really beautiful because it's a nice moment between the team, and it's essentially the bond that sticks us together, is that we are first Shia brothers and then we play sports together. And it always ends on saying Ali, Ali 3 times, and that really pumps you up for the game. So yeah, it's a good tradition that we have. I advise anyone to do it. It's good.
No, it still gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. So that's an amazing thing. Now, in terms of friendships, we know who a Husseini should be, and we know that friendship should be good. How do we tie that together in the sense that how will it help us become a better Husseini and as a result make the world a better place?
So I would say, one of the things definitely that you said, which I think is actually really important, like sometimes how do you know that your friendship circle is a Husseini circle or is a good circle to be in? And it's simple things like you said, like when it comes to namaz time, does your friend remind you, or do you just carry on watching football or playing or whatever it is you were doing? Or if, for example, one of you swears or does something wrong or anything like that, do your friends call you up on it, or do they just let it go and encourage negative behavior? So I think that's a really good friendship test, if you would like. But in terms of being a positive influence as a friendship circle, if we think about it, they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you can have a positive influence on your 5 friends, and each of those 5 friends has 5 friends, which gives us a total of
25?
25. Wow, he can do everything, guys. So you influence 5 people positively. Those 5 people influence 5 people each positively. That's 25 people within a short space of time. So I think all you can do is make sure you're having a positive influence on your friends, and in turn, that will have a ripple effect. And so the Husseini and the good nature of your friendship can spread far and wide, in my opinion.
Oh, that's quite deep, actually.
Thank you.
I'm glad I was paying attention for that maths question. No, thank you so much for that. And I think from this conversation, I think it's safe to say that we have a good friendship.
We, alhamdulillah, very lucky to have Sheikh as my friend.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Now I want us to take our hearts to Karbala and really think about the family of the Imam. And when they were taken from Kufa to Sham, they were made to wait outside the court in the extreme heat for a long time while Yazid was decorating his court. People were throwing rocks and fire at the family of the Imam, and with their hands tied, how do they defend themselves? An old man, an ignorant man, came to Imam alayhi salam and said, I thank Allah that you rebels and foreigners have been caught and killed and imprisoned. The Imam looked at the old man with sympathy and compassion and said to him, O old man, have you recited the Quran? He said, yes. Imam said, have you read in the Quran, say, I do not ask of you any reward for it, but love for my near relatives? He said, yes. He said, O man, we are the qurba. We are the relatives that you are cursing. We are these near relatives. O man, have you read, Allah only desires to keep away the uncleanness from you, O people of the house, and to purify you a thorough purifying? O man, we are those whom Allah has purified and has said, يُطَهِّرَهُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. When the man realized this, he threw his turban on the ground and began weeping. They were then taken into the courtyard, and Bibi Zainab and Imam Sajjad gave amazing speeches that made the people think about what has happened. People would ask Imam Zainul Abidin, Yabna Rasulillah, for how long will you cry? Imam says, you have not been fair to me. Yaqub had 12 sons. He lost only one of his sons, Yusuf. His Yusuf was not dead, but he kept crying for him until he lost his eyesight. I have lost 18 loved ones of my family in Karbala. The man said, but Yabna Rasulillah, martyrdom is written for you and for your family. Imam replied, yes, but again, you have not been fair to me. Yes, martyrdom has been written for us, but what of my aunts and sisters? What of the ladies of our household being paraded without their hijab in front of Yazid? When I think of that, I can't help but cry. Asham, Asham, Asham. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Let us take our hearts to Imam Hussein, see that golden dome of his, and in front of his haram, and recite the salam together. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. Let's all recite together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين ज़ाहरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، سجاد کو ضعیف صدائیں کر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں
اتر گئی،
لاشوں کو رسیوں میں جگڑ کر لیے پھرو، لاشوں کو رسیوں میں جگڑ کر لیے پھرو، سیدانیاں تو گھر سے نکلتے ہی مر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، جاتی تھی جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پر، جاتی تھی جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پر، جانے خدا ہجوم سے کیسے گزر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھی جب چلی، ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھی جب چلی، سب گلشن بطول کی کلیاں بکھر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، گودوں سے راہ شام میں گر گر کے مر گئے، گوڑوں سے راہ شام میں گر گر کے مر گئے، بچوں کے لاش دیکھ کے مائیں بھی مر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں
اتر گئی،
رمیلا یہ پوچھتی تھی سکینہ سے قید میں، رمیلا یہ پوچھتی تھی سکینہ سے قید میں، زخمی ہے کان بالیہ بی بی کدھر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد،
اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔